So imagine that you are going on a road trip all the way up across the country to see your partner. Now, as you're driving, all of the roads are closed. This is exactly what salmon feel when they travel upstream north to mate every year. So my name is Hank Leahy, and today I'm going to be informing you guys about dam removal and its effects on the ecosystem. You should listen to what I have to say because I have been on a camping trip in Idaho for 7 days in close vicinity for all 7 days with wildlife experts about specifically the Salmon River. And you should care about this because dams affect the world we live in and the ecosystems that are controlled by them. So in this speech today, I'm going to be telling you guys about dam removal and how it causes the immediate loss of habitat for reservoir species, sediment and its role in dam removal, and how dam removal results in the changing species. First, I will talk about how the removal of dams results in an entirely new landscape. Dams create reservoirs, which are big lakes and big reservoirs of water at the dam site. And when they're removed, a completely new landscape is formed. So species that were accustomed to slow-moving water that live in these reservoirs typically suffer from dam removal immediately because their habitat becomes completely wiped out once the dam is removed. However, in the long term, empty reservoirs can create new habitats, new land habitats, once they green out, which means that grass and trees fill in the new landscape. Also, dam removal eliminates invasive and overpopulated reservoir species such as carp, and they become less of a problem. And not only are the species affected at the removal site, but downstream sediment has effects too. And in this picture, you can see all this sediment compared to the fresh water right here. And when dams are removed, sediment is released from the dam. The released sediment quickly subsides into the bottom of the river. However, before removal, the sediment buildup in the reservoirs damages the reservoir ecosystems because those animals that live in the reservoirs are not accustomed to thick layers of sediment at the bottom of their habitat. Also, sediment release can cause a suffocation of species downstream immediately after removal because the sediment populates the water so thickly that the species can't accustom to breathing in that water. Now I will move on to discuss how removal of dams also results in the new change of species. So, the removal of dams brings in a new environment for new species as well as the native species who lived in that river before the dam was built, specifically salmon. A long-term goal of dam removal is to restore the river's natural species, and often this does happen. Downstream sediment can create new habitats for fish and vertebrates that can live underground and in that sediment. And also, dam removal results in the restoration of the original flow and sediment regimes that natural species are accustomed to, resulting in the re-arrival of native species, such as salmon can remigrate up this upstream river and populate the areas in which they used to. In conclusion, let's talk about what I've covered in my speech today. So, I have told you about the immediate loss of reservoir habitat created by dam removal. Next, I discussed the effect and role of sediment in reservoirs and post-removal rivers. And lastly, I talked about how the removal of dams can result in many new native species. And before I leave, I would like to leave you with this. In the long run, dam removal always brings a new flow of life and restores native species. Thank you for listening.